ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ Namaste, all of you. Welcome back to our continuing study of the topics under the Introduction to Vedanta series as taught by our own dear Swami Paramarthananda. As we all know, just to recap quickly the topics that we have already covered, we began with the topic of Purusharthas, the Chaturvidha Purusharthas. Then we progressed on to get a bird's eye view, a glimpse of our vast scriptural literature in Sanskrit under the topic of Shastras. Then Swamiji handheld us through the topics of Varna Dharma, in which he talked about how our scriptures envisioned a design to, to divide society into four different groups: Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras, in order that individuals may contribute their might to the welfare, upkeep, and progress of society through the professions that they undertake based on their gunas, based on heredity. Then Swamiji took us through the topics in Ashrama Dharma, which is a classification envisioned by our scriptures that talks about the progress of an individual through four stages: the Brahmacharya Ashramaha, Grihastha Ashramaha, Vanaprastha Ashramaha, and then Sannyasa Ashramaha. The thrust in and through all these classifications is just achieving one primary goal: being born a human being, and that is the Shreyas or the Moksha Purushartha, the Parama Purushartha, which on which our scriptures lay very, very great importance and consider it paramount important as paramount important as a paramount of paramount importance for us, for every human being to achieve and enjoy fulfillment in this very birth itself. So that was the ashrama classification. Now, Swamiji is taking us through the topic of Karma Yoga, in which Swamiji, as is wont, gave us the knowledge that the word Karma Yoga consists of two words, karma and yoga. And karma means proper action, and yoga means proper attitude. Under the actions classified by our scriptures, we have three types of actions qualitatively. One of them, the first one is Uttamam Karmani. second is madhyamam karmani, and the third being the adhama or adhamam karmani. Uttamam karmani, Swamiji called all those karmas that are based on paropakara karmani, based on the principle of give more and take less. He also called them sattvikam or sattvika karmani. So, under this classification of paropakara karmani, Swamiji began to talk to us about his favorite subject, that is a beautiful framework in which we can use to implement karma yoga, which are the pancha maha yajnas, and we have just stepped into the first yajna, namely the deva yajna. So that's where we are in the roadmap. We will take it forward from here and see what Swamiji has to say to us. We were looking at two shlokas basically, in which a karma yogi looks at an all inclusive vision. His vision is to include all beings, the entire creation, in his prayers. He looked at the prayer, Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, Sarve santu niramayaha, Sarve bhadrani pashyantu, Ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet. We looked at that prayer. And then we also looked at another beautiful prayer in which we saw how Paropakaraya vahanti nadyaha, Paropakaraya duganti gavaha, Paropakaraya phalanti vrikshaha, Paropakarartham idam shariram. So the emphasis in our culture, in a spiritual culture, is to give more and take less. So Swamiji said, when I utter these prayers in front of the Lord in any language, it need not necessarily have to be in Sanskrit. It is the greatest contribution to creation. In any other service, I can confine myself to only a particular geographical location or area. No human being or no institution can reach all the areas of creation in any other service. One has to mull over this and internalize this fact. This one prayer, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha, is the most extensive which will benefit the whole creation. Sarve, all. That's what is meant by survey, isn't it? This is the most extensive and least expensive paropakaraha. The expenditure being just a few minutes in which words of prayer are expressed with a deep and sincere heart. Along with this prayer, if I offer something to the Lord, whatever I offer will also be distributed to the entire creation. Just imagine this. Think about this. God does not depend upon my old 5 rupee note that I put into the hundi, my 2-inch bananas that I offer, or the one-fourth camphor. No, God is not dependent on our such offerings, these measly offerings. No, God does not depend on it. God has a trust called the universal trust, and God is the trustee. Whatever you and I offer in any puja, in any abhisheka, nothing goes waste. Nothing. Everything that we offer will be taken by the Lord and distributed through God's universal trust to every human being, living being, even plants and microorganisms. Look at the depth and the width that is being envisaged. Amazing. The seva or service done or offered to the Lord, remember, will ultimately reach humanity, not only humanity, but the entire creation, the 14 lokas, and maybe even beyond. We don't know. The Shastras talk about the 14 lokas. Now, lokas, don't we know the extent of Bhuloka? I mean, the space around us, when we study astronomy, that is why Swamiji talks about, encourages his students to study astronomy, at least read books on astronomy to know the extent of this creation, to get a inkling as to what is the depth of this creation. Nowadays, everybody talks or uses the cliche, Manava Seva is Madhava Seva, isn't it? Is a very popular cliche among those involved in social service. So Manava Seva is Madhava Seva. Manava means what? Human being. Seva to human being is equal to or equivalent to serving God. Madhava is another name for God. This is indeed a wonderful concept, no doubt. The problem is, such people look down upon those who are religiously minded. They have a holier than thou attitude, in that they are the ones who claim Manava Seva is Madhava Seva. They are the ones doing service, and the religiously minded are involving themselves in useless puja. This is because they take into account only one side of this equation. Manava Seva is equal to Madhava Seva. They do not understand the other side. Madhava Seva is, in fact, more extensive than Manava Seva. Because when I worship or offer something to the Lord, it benefits not only the entire humanity, but the creation in totality. Look at this vision. that vision is completely switched and turned around. From Manava Seva is equal to Madhava Seva, the table is turned around to be stated as Madhava Seva is Manava Seva also. Not restricted to Manava Seva, also goes to serving Manavas. We will continue in the same vein in the upcoming capsule. Hari Om.